Hey everybody, Jeremy Ritz here. Courage pays better than fear trading. Just got done with the workout. And you know what? I'm bringing it to you raw today because you know what? Trading is not nice, neat, and clean. And sometimes life isn't nice, neat, and clean. So I got my cutoff on. I'm sweaty. But we're doing Ask a Trader. We didn't get it in yesterday. Had a power outage, internet issue, but we're getting it in today. If you have questions, throw those in the chat. Going to go over the broader markets with you. And let's talk the broader markets. So let me go ahead and share the screen and let's take a look at what's been happening in the markets. And where I'm going to start, as always, is with the S&P 500. And we've been ripping. I mean, you could see the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, we've been in an uptrend. Now, we had a sell-off yesterday. We had good CPI, good inflation data that was cool, right? It showed that prices were cooling down. That's good for rate cuts and for those smaller cap stocks. And what we saw with the IWM yesterday is look at this huge candle, this big gap up, which pressure was building on this thing. And today you're seeing a little bit of selling coming in. But those small cap stocks that are interest rate sensitive, they were able to get a push. They're trying to push today. They got close to 215, but got smacked down. And I'm guessing that this will kind of hover around here, and we'll probably get a little bit of sideways movement consolidation before then a push higher. Because if interest rate cuts are coming, that is bullish for IWM and those small caps. If you check out the QQQ, you could see that this thing, before inflation report hit on Thursday, that it hit 503.56 and then schmack, got knocked right down, getting bought back up a little bit today. But overall, the inflationary news is looking positive. Now, PPI came in today. We can pull that up here on the economic calendar. If we scroll down here, we could see that it was higher than expected, and that caused a little bit of concern at the outset, but you could see what has happened since then. Bulls are stepping in, they're buying it up, and look for that to continue. Now, we'll probably will see a little bit of a rotation out of big tech into some of these smaller cap names, these stocks that have been beat down. And that's not a bad thing. So there are opportunities to be had. So you may see like your Microsofts, your Apples, your Metas start to take a little break and step aside to let these other stocks get their time in the sunshine, right? So let's look at some of those bigger tech stocks, and you could see what I'm talking about here. Bam, here's that candle off of inflation, drop down. And Meta almost got down to that 100 SMA today before it got bought back up, and it's just kind of hanging out right there. And they have earnings coming up on July 31st. If you take a look at Netflix, who will be reporting earnings next week, and I did put out a little Courage Pays Better Than Fear mini to preview those earnings. And look what happened here. Bang, this thing dropped. It found support on the 50 EMA. It's close to that 50 SMA. I got to pull this up here. And so I like this heading into earnings. It's selling off because this could be setting up for a gap up and a push higher into 700. Now, I thought it would hit that 700 mark before earnings. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but keep your eye on this, especially heading into earnings, because this could be a gap up opportunity. Let's take a look at a few others here. We see Tesla. Tesla yesterday hit into the 270s, right? And it hasn't done that. You have to go back to this candle here, September. It hasn't been in 270 September. And when that happened, the bears were waiting, smacked it down, sold down a little bit more to the 200 SMA on the weekly, almost near that mother of all trend lines. And then we were getting bought back up today. Now, a lot of this was off of the news that the robo-taxi event scheduled for August 8th was getting pushed back to October. Market makers didn't like that, so that's why you saw that drop. Now let's take a look at NVIDIA. You're going to see kind of the same thing here. Sell-off on inflation, bought back up today. We'll see what happens. I'm waiting for this to come lower before I start snagging any more shares. I wanted to get into a period of consolidation that started to happen yesterday, but we did get bought up a little bit today. If we take a look at, let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft, same thing, sell off, but this 20 EMA saved it. We got a hammer coming in there. If we look at Amazon, similar thing, big sell off inflation, the 20 EMA saving it. And Apple stayed pretty resilient, pretty strong, kind of like Tesla. So pushing higher, sold off on inflation, bought right back up. I actually have to adjust this because it made new all-time highs. So a lot of strength there. And again, we're due for correction. I have drawn out here on my SPX chart what I'm looking for. My target for this year on the SPY is 57.50, which I can't believe we're this close to it by now. But I could see us pulling back from there. And what I would really like to see is to get down into that 100, even down into the 200 before starting our next leg higher until November. So we do need a correction. We're in desperate need of it. We're super far extended. So whether or not that's going to happen anytime soon, who knows? And then the last one that I'll take a look at here, not Boeing. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin, because I had this area when it was consolidating, this being an area where it was supposed to bounce. That didn't happen. I'm going to delete that. But you could see, it's dropped quite a bit. If you look at this as a double top, it's more than met its target on that. It's found support off this trend line. I thought after this big hammer that came in, we would just plow through this, especially off of cool inflation data. But notice how this 200 SMA on the daily is just kind of holding this thing intact. And until Bitcoin can get above that, it's going to be more chop or even more moves lower. So keep an eye on that. All of your other crypto stocks are going to be influenced by that, Mara, Coinbase, but this could be primed to break out. So keep an eye here. Was oversold twice. Bitcoin could be ready to make a comeback. So that's it. That's what I wanted to cover with you guys today. In terms of next week, let's just take a look at economic news. If we go, so the 15th, Jerome Powell's going to be speaking again. Man, he needs to quiet down. We have some export and import prices on Tuesday that'll be coming through. If we go to Wednesday, we have some mortgage data coming out, some manufacturing data, a couple Fed speeches. Thursday, we have jobless claims, which will move the market a little bit. Again, the Fed is paying attention to the labor market in terms of what they're going to do with rate cuts. You have some more Fed speakers. Wow, there's 2 to close the day there and 1 right before that. And then Friday, you have 2 more Fed speakers. And then that following week is when we're going to get PCE, and that is going to be on Friday, July 26th. That's the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. If this is cool, my prediction has been the end of July, the Fed's meeting is July 30th and 31st. And on the 31st, they have their presser with Jerome Powell, where they'll announce the rate cut. I think they're going to be announcing a surprise rate cut, 25 basis points, July 31st. You heard it here first. That's my take. And that's going to be it. That's it for Ask a Trader here today. Make sure you check out this week's edition of the Traders Podcast, episode number 28. And I'll see you back here next week for another Ask a Trader Live. Have a phenomenal weekend, everybody. I will see you next week.